Well, they are here. The newest version of Apple's popular iPhone hit stores today in the U.S. and Canada, Britain and several other European countries as well. Gadget lovers are flocking to stores to pick up the new iPhone 3GS. Apple says it's the fastest, most powerful iPhone yet, and some of the improvements include a better camera, faster processor, and longer battery life. The iPhone is still a very hot tech item, but it's no longer the only cool smartphone on the market. Joining me now is Phil Elmer DeWitt, who's a blogger from Fortune.com. He's outside the Apple store in New York. And Phil, first of all, tell us how crazy it is. I've seen pictures of the lines out there outside the Apple store. How crazy is it there this morning?
Well, it's calmed down a little bit. The line has dwindled. It was about 240 people when they opened the doors at 7:02 a.m. But there were people here exactly 24 hours ahead of time. 3 guys from New Jersey under umbrellas in the pouring rain. They're pretty excited. The usual clapping and shouting before they open the doors. But not for an Apple event. It was actually relatively restrained. In other years, you'll have the Apple employees running down the street, screaming and whooping. This time they stayed inside and just clapped politely as people came down the stairs.
So a little bit muted then. Before we talk about other smartphones, I wanted to ask you about the Apple 3GS. Is it as good, as fast as it says it is?
Well, it's pretty zippy, and it does have a better camera, and it has bells and whistles like a camera, and probably the video, the fact that it can shoot and send video is probably the most important improvement. But the fact is that they introduced 2 days ago a new piece of software, Apple iPhone 3.0, which actually gives old iPhone owners most of the important improvements that people have been waiting for: the cut and paste, more ability to run more apps. And so I think part of the reason it's a little muted today is that people who already have iPhones can enjoy many of the benefits that are coming with the new one.
Are there any downsides that you see?
Of the new iPhone? Well, no. They're selling for the same price as the old one. In fact, they reduced the price of the old one down to $99, which actually is a bit of a problem for some of the competitors, Palm and RIM. No, as a rule of thumb, it's not a good idea generally to buy the first batch of any new piece of equipment because, it may be that there are some glitches that they have to work out in production. But Apple is actually pretty good about that stuff, and if there's a problem, they'll return it for free within 14 days, and you have a warranty. So there's not much of a downside. If you like this phone, this will be good for you. If you don't like your local carrier, which in the U.S. is AT&T, that's a bit of a problem.
Phil, let's talk about some of the other smartphones out there. We know that Apple has a pretty big share of the marketplace, but there are other options out there. What are some other smartphones that are coming out or that have recently come out that you think are pretty good and a good buy?
Well, the most recent and the one that was making all the news 10 days ago was the Palm Pre, kind of a Hail Mary pass by Palm, who used to own this handset market. And it's probably the closest competitor to the iPhone. It's got the big advantage it has is that it has a little slide-out keyboard. So for people who are used to BlackBerries and like to type with their fingers. On the iPhone, of course, there's no keyboard, and you do it all on a virtual keyboard on the screen. The other big one is the RIM BlackBerry, and they've got a large share of the market. It started to dwindle for the original BlackBerry with those keys, but they've come out with some touchscreen BlackBerries that look like the iPhone. So far, they're not as good, but we expect RIM to keep trying, and they'll come up with something nearly as good as the iPhone. Whether they can catch up to the important thing, which is how many applications run on the iPhone, is another question. The App Store, where you can download programs to run on the iPhone, has exploded. There are now 50,000 apps. They've been downloaded more than 1 billion times. That's going to be a tough thing to compete with.